The Two Brits in America podcast. Join two cheeky Brits as they navigate life, culture shocks, and everyday adventures across the pond. From tea versus coffee debates to deep dives into American quirks, it's a witty, warm, and refreshingly honest look at life in the US through British eyes. Expect laughs, cultural curiosities, and a whole lot of charm. Stay tuned.
Hello, everybody. Two Brits in America are back with you. It's been a while, but we're back. That's the main thing. I'm Malcolm Teasdale, and across the land a little bit is my buddy. Where is he? Where are you, mate?
Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta. This is Francis Carden. Hello, everybody. Welcome, Malcolm. Good to see you again. This ain't been that long. It's only been a couple of weeks since we chatted again. But for our audience, this is a first time. We've been asked by quite a few of our listeners to turn this also into a YouTube. So you get to see our ugly mugs for the first time if you hadn't seen us online. So here we are. And I think Malcolm may have forgot that we were doing it because he said he didn't shave this morning. I think you look all right, mate.
I haven't had a chance to shave all day, or yesterday even. So I look like, I don't know what I look like. I look like some ground animal or something. But anyway.
But that's what this podcast is about, mate. This podcast is just about natural born Brits living in America, trying to discuss the nuances, the love, the hate across the ponds, the things that, we stay away from politics as much as possible, add a bit of flavour of comedy, and try to sort of brighten up 30 minutes of your day. That's what we do, right?
I realise that. I could have had a shave, put my best suit and tie on, have a nice hat or something, but it don't matter. I'm here. Yeah.
But I think we're also proving we're cheapskates because I think we shared the same tin of paint, didn't we, to paint our walls on our phone.
Yeah, just a little bit darker. Yeah.
How did that happen? I think the fact you haven't lit your room, my room's quite bright, but I think it's actually the same colour. I'm willing to bet. We should check the tins.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No, we didn't really buy the same tin of paint and share it. We're not that cheap. We are cheapskates, though, I think, right?
Well. So what have you been up to lately?
Actually doing more work than I wanted to because I retired. And now I call it semi-retired. Now I'm not sure it's called semi-work. We set up this analyst firm. I talked a little bit about that last year. And boy, we got a shitload of work because we cover AI and all sorts of application development. But it's really helped me in a way because I get to see AI before others and I get to use it in ways in which business people use it. There's a lot of scaremongering.
Yeah.
Some valid around it. So that's what I've been doing for the last few weeks. And then I happened to take Wednesday afternoon off to play golf with my mate Paul. So I had a first round for 18 months and didn't play too shabbily considering I hadn't played for so long. What about you?
Well, what did you shoot, by the way?
106, actually, 106.
What about the back nine?
The old ones are the best, aren't they?
Oh, joking. No, actually, I've got to tell you this because I went up to Milwaukee last week, and I came through the airport.
Did you run?
Yeah.
Did you run to Milwaukee?
Or it's something like Milwaukee or Wisconsin. Yeah, I've been practicing that. But yeah, coming through the airport on the way back, and you go through customs, not customs, but security. And in their big sign, I looked up, and they have a recombobulation area. Have you ever seen that at an airport before?
I didn't know that was a word because one of my favourite words that I introduced a few times because it comes up in our world, right? Discombobulation. I use that a lot. I love that word. It's one of my favourite words. Recombobulation.
Yes, because it's there for a reason. Because after you go through security, you may feel discombobulated. So this area enables you to recombobulate in a recombobulation area. That's it. And it's there. I'll email you the picture. And
I want to know, is it a word in Scrabble? If it's not a word in Scrabble or Wordle, not Wordle, but Scrabble, it's not a word. Is it a word?
Yeah, but it's there. It really is. That's the Milwaukee Airport. It just came to my mind that because it may be the only airport with such a sign, but you see these signs sometimes at the airport. You think, what the hell does that mean? It's like you do these comparisons with the British airports and the American airports. I mean, is it baggage claim or is it baggage reclaim? And it confuses people depending what side of your pond you're from. But this one was a little bit different, right? Not that I was discombobulated at all, but it was sort of, seemed apropos, if you know what I mean.
But yeah, apparently it is a word, but it's a playful, pseudo-legitimate one.
Yeah.
Um, Born from human linguistic rebellion. It's not
Just that
it's not kind of the word. Brits don't use it. It's more of a US whimsy thing, but Brits appreciate the humor. The closest UK equivalent is I finally got my shit together. Maybe that's what it should be called. Get your shit together over here.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
Well,
but
they
I'll
have
tell you,
some words up there anyway, like schnookered means I'm tired. I'm schnookered, And why do they have a bubbler by the restroom? And I'm going to the store,
I
don't you
do
know?
what? Hold on. Speak
This is
English,
all
man. Slow
Wisconsin.
down. Slow down. What did you say? Something by the restroom?
A bubbler. They talk about having a bubbler by the restroom. It's a water fountain. They call it a bubbler.
Why? It's a water fountain.
Yeah, it's a bubbler there.
But it's not a bubbler. What's the bubble? It's not bubbles.
But that is the Wisconsin thing, I sure. I used to
Okay,
live
mate.
there one time. I used to speak fluent Wisconsin-ish, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I just went up there for a few days and I heard some words I hadn't heard for a long time. Anyway, it's all right. Fit right in.
Well, I tell you, I must have to travel there. Maybe we can learn something from there. Is to like to help with our podcast because recombobulated and a bubbler. That's nuts. Hey, on that theme, so I had a word, and I don't know if the Americans use this very much. I know Americans use hanky panky. That's a word, right? Or words.
Hanky panky, yeah.
And we all know what that means, or maybe we don't. But we use rumpy pumpy, don't we?
Yeah.
Rumpy pumpy. And apparently it dates back to the 17th century. It was a euphemism for romping, boisterous play. And it became slang for sex by about the 19th century. So anyway, Americans say hanky panky and we say rumpy pumpy, a bit of rumpy.
That's nothing to do with Humpty Dumpty, though, right? Okay, just asking. You never know.
Well, it's funny. Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's a euphemism there. It's not worth mentioning on our podcast, but people can make the connection because there is a connection. Hey, listen. At least we're agreeing today. We're not having an argy bargy.
Argy bargy. No, we're not.
Now, I don't think that's American at all, right?
Yeah, I haven't heard that for a while.
Yeah, I think that is definitely so. Argy bargy. It means noisy. So you can have a Barney. Obviously, a Barney is an.
Yeah.
Where did Barney come from? Do you know where Barney comes from?
I wonder if it comes from the company firm Barney Rubble means trouble.
Barney Rubble. We did cover, yeah, Barney Rubble, having an argy bargy and a Barney Rubble.
Yeah,
so they are actually, they're probably more London rhyming slangs as well, right? Because it's like, yeah, Barney Rubble, you're in trouble. Yeah, and anyways, there's that one. Yeah. Oh, anyway, it's a bit willy-nilly. It's all over the place. It's a bit discombobulated, willy-nilly, haphazardly. So there we go. We could have, this is the no willy area. So there's no haphazard.
Haphazard. Yeah.
You come through TSA security, or willy-nilly, just throw everything everywhere, and then you recombobulate it all back again. Jesus, this is fun. How do we never even listen, to our audience. We don't plan this. Obviously, we don't plan this. We didn't plan our paint, and we didn't plan what we're going to talk about today. This is fun.
Well, I guess that comes on because sometimes people get their knickers in a twist. I'm just saying, right?
Yes, true knickers in a twist, and you can see where that is. Yeah, there's no shorten of that, is there? Don't lose your knickers over it. That's one. That's the same thing, isn't it? Don't get your knickers in a twist.
Yeah. So what else is new?
Well, what else is new? So, here's an interesting thing. So we do, obviously, this is a podcast, and now it's, what do you call it? Now it's a YouTube cast. I don't know, but it's all going to be on YouTube, and this is the first time we're going to be on YouTube along with all our other podcast channels. So you get to see our ugly mugs. But one of the things I heard about, my son sent me a link last week because I'd done an article on LinkedIn about this. It's too complicated to even describe it, but I did an article on LinkedIn a few months ago, and my son uploaded it to an AI engine. It was actually Google's Gemini AI engine called Notebook LM language model, right? And what it done, it takes that and it can create a podcast. They're not real humans, but it creates a podcast like we're doing between two people, discussing not only the entire article in context, but all the hundreds of comments that followed and made it a discussion. So it was a 22-minute podcast podcast from a single LinkedIn article. And actually, it was a little bit of humor, but mostly serious about this truly discussing this topic around AI in itself. But the fact that AI, people are worried about AI and you know um, deep fakes and things like that. It's real.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
real. And I mean, maybe I'll upload that somewhere so other people can get to listen to a podcast that's totally generated by computer AI from an article that was written and commented on, but turned it into something as if it was a podcast subject. And I was blown. Don't even need us anymore, Malcolm. We could just write what we're thinking and just have two made up AI engines deep faking us.
We could. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah,
We look
you can't.
we look fake anyway. No, we don't look fake.
You
But I mean,
can't.
I know what you're saying. You know,
You
and
can't replicate our BS, though, can you? Really? Let's
no,
be honest.
no, no. But probably in a couple of weeks it'll happen. You know, there's
Couple of
some.
weeks.
If you type in Google AI companies, there's so many of them doing sort of similar but little things differently, and it covers a huge area. It's scary what's out there right now. You know, amazing.
Well, my focus is AI on the business side of it predominantly, but I
Yeah.
have fun obviously with, looking stuff up. I mean, I have hundreds of threads going. I have business plans. I have things that I'm writing articles and things like that. I just help it assimilate my thoughts to a final article that I end up writing. But it's almost like, if you could store areas of your brain on a particular topic. Now, we men are quite, well, especially my wife accused me of this, we can be quite worried and have three topics in a single conversation. And my wife's like, what, where are you going? But this allows you to compartmentalize, recombobulate certain subjects and topics and have them not overlap, but you can come back to one as if you were carrying on a conversation. So it is as game changing as everybody thinks, right? It can be as humorous as we want it to be. It can be
Yes.
as scary as we want it to be. But as I tell people, it goes, well, we need to control it. It needs to be, and it does need to be controlled for sure. But our adversaries are not controlling this. We have to make it to our advantage because China, Russia, and everyone else is going to be doing this. And so it's going to be competitive regardless. So what I recommend to people, right, is don't be afraid of AI. AI isn't itself going to replace jobs. What it's going to do is people who learn AI are going to replace people who haven't learned AI. And
Yeah.
so I do encourage all generations to go and have fun with it first. Just play with the fuck out
But
of it.
hasn't that been the way with technology all along? As it's got more technical, I guess. People, yeah, my parents always thought technology it's just going to eliminate jobs. Well, this is just another era of life. Who knows what's going to happen in another 100 years? Who the hell knows? But anyway, this is the era we live in today.
Well,
Something
that
new.
was yeah. I mean, when my first jobs, when I was a trainee purchasing manager, no computer. I think we had a calculator at best, and when we had a telex, I'm going to really show my age.
Yeah,
But everything was manually filed and
yeah.
manually ordered. But of course, then everybody started talking about computers. That's it. It's the end of work. We'll have 3-day weeks. We won't have to work anymore. And then look what happened for the next 50 years. So I actually think it is going to accelerate. Obviously, it can do some wacky things. We've got to be able to be smart with it and
Mhm.
sensible with it. But it's here, it's staying. Um, but I think it has a whole new generation of financial benefits and work benefits and benefits for humanity. I think it will be a great thing.
Yeah, I think it's something new to learn, at least for me. And I spent this morning looking at a couple of products, and I thought quite, it's fascinating. How cool is this? A couple of them I thought, like, ugh, that's horrible, but something for everybody, I guess, if they're interested. Um,
Well, so truly, this conversation is quite willy-nilly, right? Haphazard, right?
yeah.
Because we've gone from the humor side of it to a bit serious. But I think that the AI bit needed a mention here because it is something you asked me what I was doing in the week. So I've done a lot around AI. Anybody can post questions in the chat or in the YouTube, whatever. If they've got any questions for me on AI, go look me up on LinkedIn. But it is very interesting. And,
Yeah.
it'll even make a joke. There was one I did the other day where somebody said, what would it sound like if you mixed an Australian living in Germany? What would the accent be like? And I asked ChatGPT to come up and give me what that accent would be like. It's really good.
Just like Bob's your uncle. Looks like that. There you go.
Bob's uncle, yeah, everything is just done, right? So, listen, what else? Well, you said that you traveled through the airport. What were you doing in Wisconsin?
What was I doing? What, up in Milwaukee?
Oh, I thought you said, yeah, Wisconsin. That was your other one. Yeah. What was you doing in Milwaukee's?
No, yeah, my boy lives up there, my son. So I went to see him for a few days, and
Mhm.
uh, because the snow had just gone away, it was time to pay a visit, and it was cold up there, mind you, but it was all right. It's decent, easy to get up there, and so that was it. Just drove down the airport, got the plane, bam, there and back, easy, all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it's that is that whole airport thing again, isn't it? I haven't been on a plane for a couple of months, and I don't really miss it. But at the same time, I do eventually. You know what? My son took a flight to where did he go? He went to Oman. Him and some friends went on a trip because they found a mistake rate or something, and I won't mention the airline, but they ended up going on a flight that's called residence class.
residence class.
Mate, I kid you not. He didn't just have his seat in his bed. It was a little corner office up there. I'm
That's
not kidding. He had his laptop on a little office chair. It was nuts. And then all of his friends were sitting around a circle table playing cards in a little. I don't
yeah.
know. These youngsters,
I,
they work hard and play hard. They know how to travel. But, I don't know how much a ticket would have cost if it wasn't a mistake rate. Probably up there in the 30, 40 grand range.
Yeah, I probably think so. Yeah, yeah. I've been booking flights recently for future travel, and it's quite interesting now with planes and their partners and the alliances of what you can and cannot get, and what it costs as frequent flyer miles is totally different from one airline to another. It's quite a puzzle, but at least I've figured it all out. It's messy at times, but it's all part of the fun. That's it. When you go somewhere, it's part of the enjoyment is planning it, and you get it done. I've documented it, and it's all good. So yeah, I've got a few trips planned this year. In fact, I'm away next week. So I'm sailing across the pond to the old country next week.
So you're doing the transatlantic. Where are you going out of?
Miami, Miami. 2 days up to Bermuda, and then across to 4 days to the Azores, into Spain, around south some part of Spain into Barcelona, get off the damn ship there, and that's pretty much it. And over there for a few week before flying back via Iceland. So that's pretty much it. So it's a long time on the ship, but it's sort of relaxing though. And so
I don't think it's too long. I did a transatlantic. Me and my wife did one once, and my my sense of humor, good or bad. Um, the the I would meet people for dinner that night or whatever, and I would say, "Well, what did you get up to today? Did you get off?" And of course, they're like, I went, "Oh no, I got off. I walked around a bit, had a good time," and they look at me as if I just woke up. It was funny because you had 8 days at sea, I think it was 8 back-to-back days at sea. You probably have about 6 or 7, do you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot. But going to Bermuda, I mean, that's neat because they had their own language, English, but it's real, like, sort of bastardized English. And this is true. When I first went to Bermuda, I took pub because that's what you do in Hamilton, and they organised tours around pub crawl. So I went to an Irish pub. It was managed by a Scotsman. I'm walking in as an Englishman, so I was asking for trouble. And the guy said, "Well, what do you want?" I said, "What type of beer do you have?" And he said, "Well, we have brown, we have polar, and if you want something a bit strong, we have grizzly." Because beer means bear up there. And he was messing with me, I know that. And there's so many nuances, like the BBC. They call it BBC as the Barely Broadcasting Company. They take the Mickey out of everything. It's funny.
And
But
we don't.
I know. But
I'll talk about me and you, not just the Brits. The Brits, yeah, it's like, what was it we talked about on the last episode? We were talking about a bit of wit. We have to have a response to everything. It's like, what's that word I was looking for? I don't know, not wit. When we try to have a comeback for something. What's that word I'm looking for? Just
I
getting
don't know.
old. It'll come to me in a minute. But no, it was, yeah, it is funny. I do like that sense. It's what makes, I think, no matter how down you are or what's going on in your life or something that's happened, if you could just throw a bit of humor into someone else's day, whether they get it or not, it's cheery. It's
Yeah, I think
very
it's
cheery.
important. I went down local supermarket here just to get a bottle of wine, and you do the automatic checkout yourself. So someone walks over and has to check my ID. I said, that's fine. I just turned 21 last week. You say that, you'd be surprised what kind of responses you get, right? But anyway, it's me. And I just remember my dad came over many years ago. He's long since gone. Went to a supermarket there, and he checked out, get a 6-pack of beer or something. They had to see his ID, and he was 83 years old at the time.
If I go to a bar, they check someone else's ID, who's next to me or whatever, and they haven't checked mine. In all seriousness, I'm like, you didn't check mine? What you saying I'm old? And they're like, and then suddenly you let
Yeah,
that smile come in and they realize you're joking. Because at first it can be deemed to be, what is it now? They say, like, if you look under 25, we're going to ID you. I'm
yeah,
like, don't I look under 25? Come on, guys.
yeah. I know. We're just being friendly, but yeah, I know. But when we go to do that, they just, oh yeah, he's an old geezer, let him go. But anyway, it's all
Well, if
part of
somebody says to my wife, "Oh, I like your nails," or "I like your shoes," or something like that, I have to be in her face. I'm like, "My nails, my nails." Like, "Oh, yeah, I like yours too." Like, "No, I
Yeah.
don't like my nails." But yeah, it's a funny old world, isn't it? It's a funny old world. So listen, another word for us, right? Which one we don't use that often, and I don't use it often over here because a cosy. You talk about, you're going on the ships, you're going to be using the swimming pools. You got to put your cosy on, which is
Cosy, yeah.
Isn't that Australian or something? Swimming costume, isn't it? Short for
It's
cosy.
swimming. We call it swimming costumes, yeah. But that was foreign over here. Yeah, yeah. But cosy, that's where it came from.
They
Yeah.
don't use that over here, though, do they?
Yeah, it could be Aussie because like if it was British at one time in their lives, in their history, then the words have probably changed quite a bit. They are in Britain, but Australians have changed a lot. The New Zealanders have different words for everything. Bermuda is quite bizarre, but it happens in all British places.
We
But
just keep shortening words. I think that's the whole thing about Two Brits in America. We did whole series on London rhyme and slang. We've got a ton more that would have never even covered. We'll touch on as we go through this. But, costume, swimming costume, boring as shit, cosy, which is short. It's great. It's just like, put your cosy on. Let's go swimming. Let's
yeah,
put swimming costume on. What swimming costume should we put on today? And then also it's shorts anyway. There's no speedos over it. You could always tell a European at the beach down at Panama City Beach, couldn't you?
yeah, right.
Down in speedos.
I know. I agree with that. Yeah, it's still
And
happens.
normally it's very fit young European men, but occasionally it's very unfit European men as well
Yes,
that wear the
you shouldn't
speedo.
be wearing. Now, Francis, you don't have a pair of those, do you?
Not anymore.
No. Did you throw them away, or did the missus throw them away for you?
They just disappeared one day. So that's a very
Yeah.
valid point. I think it's more to do with the fact that they wouldn't fit. I could, maybe over one leg now. From when I was that age, when you'd wear a cosy swimming shorts. I know what were they? It was just swimming trunks. That's it, swimming trunks, wasn't it? Put your trunks on. They were that was when I was when I was 17, I was skinny runt, tall, skinny
Yeah,
runt.
I know.
My mother-in-law used to think I was, and she was right. It's before she was my mother-in-law, God rest her soul. She saw that I was so underfed. Every time I go around my now wife's house, it's like, man, there's be a big dinner, proper dinner, meat pies and potatoes and vegetables and gravy every night I went around my wife's house or her mum's house. Man, that was that. Yeah, so that's why I was in swimming trunks and then no longer was because it didn't take long to fatten me up. I tell you.
Yeah, well, that's over.
Are we short on words? Bickies is another one. We haven't talked about bickies.
Pinkies,
No, bickies.
binkies. Oh, binkies.
Bickies, short for biscuits. Pass
Oh,
the
yeah.
bickies.
All right. See, even we sometimes don't understand what we're talking about with each
You
other
use
because
bickies, right?
I seem to recall I've heard it for a long time.
It's rhyming slang for biscuits, obviously. Cookies in America, which they don't use biscuits. But yeah, if I went to my nan's house, she'd like and made a cup of tea. She'd like some bickies with that. Oh yeah, thanks,
Because,
Dan.
yeah, yeah,
Like the
okay,
biscuits.
I get it. Yeah, yeah,
And they were
okay.
all assorted biscuits as well, weren't they? Because you go to someone's house here, I've never offered biscuits or cookies. Well, cookies, yeah, big, great, big monster cookies. I don't like that. I mean, that's just too much sugar because it's all sugar in these things. But nice little dainty, neat, nice biscuit, nice, literally nice biscuits and ginger biscuits. Do you like ginger biscuits? Ginger
Yeah,
nut
yeah,
biscuits,
yeah.
cookies. Bickies, mate, a plate of Bickies, the little orange pink triangle ones, and then the little and then the jammy Dodgers. My sons love
Oh,
jammy.
yeah, 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 those. Can you
Short of the
imagine?
jammy D's.
Can you imagine, listen, if you were fresh off the boat over here and someone told them that I just went to so and so, had some biscuits and gravy, they'd probably think, gravy on biscuits,
Yeah.
it's been with us for a long time.
Well, I'll stick to Bickies then. I had some Bickies because then it wouldn't be confused with biscuits. Because you're right, American biscuits are what we would call dumplings, well, biscuit
Or
dumplings, right?
scones, I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, more like scones or scones. That's a debate within England, isn't it? Is it a scone or a scone?
Depends where you're from.
And do you put the cream on before the jam or the jam on before the cream?
Come on before the cream.
See, even though we discussed the nuances between the UK and the US or Australia or the ponds, right? Across the ponds, there are nuances within territories, within states. There's territories within the south of England, the north of England, the west of England, the east of England. These nuances exist in life. It's what makes a wonderful global population, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
It's also what makes the world go round. I think it's a great thing.
We're forever learning. As long as we learn something every day, and we learned something on this podcast today, but we just learned something. That's why we're multilingual. We're multilingual, definitely. We have to
What did you learn today? You didn't teach me nothing.
be. Well, you learned that about Milwaukee Airport, recombobulation area.
Oh,
So
that is true.
you know what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Recombobulated. I'm not, still not convinced it's a real word. I'm gonna put it on Scrabble and see if it actually works. Well, I don't know. There's too many letters for Scrabble. It's about 12 letters.
I did Google it, by the way, and a buddy of mine who used to live in Milwaukee, he wrote back to me and said, only in Wisconsin that word is used. And I thought, well, probably could be because, like each place or state has to have words which are sort of unique to that area, but made sense. I just thought, that's a long word. How many people are going through there that haven't been through Milwaukee Airport before and scratching their heads and just saying, what the hell is that? But anyway, it's cool. More fun to have.
Well, listen, I'm going for a Ruby tonight. So Ruby Murray curry. I don't know what you're doing, and then we probably could let our audience go about their business. They probably had enough for us.
Yeah.
But
All right, man.
this is our backgrounds. All right. This is, you can see I have the globe there and pictures of my English bulldog and my Westie over in the corner there, my Westie before I had this Westie that I have. And your background, you've got all your family photos behind you as
I've
well.
just got pictures on my travel. Just say a few things there. Um, I don't get to see it properly, but on that side, there's me in Mongolia a long time ago, and in Asia over there. That's Auschwitz, and down here can't really see them. Yeah, it's just a mixture of stuff. But that's the point. When we travel, we always take photographs, keep scrapbooks, and all that. That's what I do.
Mate,
Uh,
I'm telling you, some of our audience won't know what a scrapbook is. It's like, there are things that are a dying term, right? I mean, it's just like you take a photo now, it never disappears. In fact, here's something before we go. Here's something to ponder, right? And I have done a little bit of research on this. I think as you get older, you think about later. You'd leave your scrapbooks. If your parents, when they passed away, there would be a scrapbook, all the old photos,
yeah,
and crap, right? That would be in there, like special boxes and stuff that meant something to them, but not necessarily to the children. But as we have this digital life, where does the digital life go? And I realized that apparently I bought tons of movies on Prime over the last sort of like 10 years, but apparently they die with me. I haven't bought them at all. I think there's something wrong with that. I think I bought these movies. If I bought a DVD or in the old days of VHS tape, that can be passed on. And some of these movies now are more expensive than a DVD used to be or a tape.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
$24.99 for a movie the other day. I thought, I ain't paying that. I'm going to wait a couple of weeks. And it did. A couple of weeks later, it was like half that price. And then a week later, it was a third of that as well. I think Snow White you could probably get for about a dollar at the moment. But I own it. But apparently I don't. In my digital life, it could all go belly up. But Apple has a thing allowing you to do that. So when you pass away, I forget what it is, but sorry, cheery moments. When you pass away, no, sorry. But there's something to ponder. You mentioned the scrapbook. There it is physically. When you pass away, it's there. Start thinking about where your digital life's going to go, ladies and gentlemen, or not.
Yeah. Well, I won't sleep tonight thinking about
that. On that cheery note.
I don't know, mate. I can't take that now. I'll have an afternoon nap just in case. There you go. Got an excuse.
Well, it's good night from me, and it's good night from him.
Cheerio. Mate, we'll speak to you soon, and bye, everyone.
All right, keep in touch, all. See ya.
See ya. Bye.
Well, that's all for today. 2 Brits, 1 country, and at least 3 cultural misunderstandings. Cheerio. Toodaloo tatty bye. Until next time, don't forget, tea is better than coffee, biscuits are not cookies, and driving on the right still feels wrong. Cheers.